protocol independent multicast is going to be important for us to be able to create a functional layer 3 multicast domain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into each of my devices and say show IP interface brief, and it's going to give me a listing of all of the interfaces that I'm going to want to enable PIM on. So I'll start with loopback 0 and I'll say IP PIM sparse mode. I'll say interface loopback 100, IP PIM sparse mode, and interface Ethernet 1122 IP PIM sparse mode. Let's go ahead and move over to Leaf 102, show IP interface brief, interface loopback 0, IP PIM sparse mode, loopback 100, IP PIM sparse mode, interface E1122 IP PIM sparse mode. Go ahead and do our spines, show IP interface brief, interface loopback 0, IP PIM sparse mode, interface E1122 IP PIM sparse mode, and then lastly over here we'll do the same thing, show IP interface brief, config interface loopback 0, IP PIM sparse mode, and interface E1122 IP PIM sparse mode. Alright, so let's verify and see if this actually works. So I'll say show IP PIM interface brief, and I should see 3 interfaces here. Show IP interface brief, or IP PIM interface brief. 3 interfaces. On these guys I would expect to see 4 interfaces. Show IP PIM interface brief, 1, 2, 3, 4, and lastly on Leaf 102, show IP PIM interface brief, 4 interfaces. Now the big important question is do I have adjacency? So if I go to my spine and I say show IP PIM neighbors and hit enter, I should have 2 neighbors. I have appearing to Leaf 101 and appearing to Leaf 102. Do the same thing from 4, show IP PIM neighbors, and we see I have appearing with Leaf 101 and Leaf 102. So from this we can assume that what we've done is we've created a functional environment, and that functional environment is going to support our multicast configurations. But what's missing? The rendezvous point. Now I could just statically assign a rendezvous point, but where's the fun in that? What I want to do is I want to entertain some of the more interesting concepts. Now, when we were talking about multicast routing, we talked about bootstrap router, we talked about auto RP, we alluded to phantom RP, and we said that we would talk about it in the context of VXLANs. I also talked about Anycast RP with and without MSDP, the Multicast Source Discovery Protocol. So all of those things are relevant, but right now it's time for the rubber to hit the road, and what we want to do is I want to be able to implement a mechanism that's going to allow me to be able to leverage both of my spines in order to be able to satisfy the requirements for producing, leveraging, and enforcing rendezvous point configuration inside of our Layer 3 multicast environment. And we'll actually talk about that in depth in the next whiteboard, and then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do that implementation, and then from there all we really have to do is make the NVEs live and generate some traffic, and if everything goes well, this infrastructure should actually allow me to be able to ping from one site to another site, in this lab reflecting the fact that one site is in Virginia, one site is in Maryland, but we're connected via this Layer 3 multicast unicast enabled transport environment. I'm Terry Benson, and I'll see you guys in that video.